Getting serious now.
John's got his daughter in the background.
Oh, I thought he was battling a frog.
Girls, I tell you, y'all need to settle down.
Okay.
Mm.
We are now streaming on YouTube. All right. I've got 7 o'clock. We'll give it another minute or two and then we'll get started. I don't want to start and then have folks miss the announcements and the explanation of where to find things.
Yeah, this thing is good. I usually wait 5 or 10 minutes for the stragglers.
Stragglers. And in the meantime, make sure that we are in fact streaming. There I am. All right. Okay. Okay, so what we can do is I would like to go ahead and go through, I'm going to probably share my screen and explain where everything is, because we have a whole new format on how to enroll for Discovering Buddhism now. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. Bear with me 1 second. Sure. Okay. All right. So in order to, hang on. More people are coming in, so I'm stalling for a minute. All right, once we get these other folks in, I'll continue. You guys are being very patient. Think of it as a lesson in patience. This is an easy lesson though. Okay. All right, and actually I think I'm going to share this a different way. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, good. Good. All right. So I've just typed in, Kadampa-center.org. And now my computer is being exceedingly slow. Okay, there it is. All right. So to enroll in the program, if you are streaming on YouTube, or maybe you joined by way of a Zoom link that you got somehow, but to enroll, in order to get the Zoom link or the course materials, you actually do need to enroll now. So one of the easiest ways to do it is just go up here to calendar, up here in the top right corner, and just click on that. And now my computer's being slow. I have too much opened apparently. And then once the calendar comes up, you can find, like tonight's class, February 22nd, Discovering Buddhism, and you just click on that. And that will bring you to the information page about Discovering Buddhism and this particular module, how to meditate. And it says, please enroll here. And so once you click on that, all that you need to enter, I think, is your first name, last name, and an email address. And then instantly you get the Zoom link. And then you also get the website and a username and a password. So you can kind of go behind this protected wall in order to get the Discovering Buddhism program materials now. Okay. And so to do that, the website is kadampa-center.user, as I'm typing in up there at the top. Okay, everyone see that up here, kadampa-center / user. And then this page comes up. You're going to scroll down a little bit and it says members only area. So here's where, once you have enrolled in the class, then, like I said, you will receive an immediate, confirmation saying, yes, you're enrolled, and here's the username and the password, and here's the Zoom link for this class. And so you're going to enter that username and password here. And that's the same for all of us who are enrolled in Discovering Buddhism. But we ask that you please don't share this information with others, because we are FPMT, which is like our umbrella organization that we're under, wants students of Discovering Buddhism to be enrolled in the course in order to get these course materials. So please don't share that, but folks are welcome to, just go on the website and enroll. So you would enter that username here, and then the password here, and then log in, and then you'll have the information, and it will kind of roll out. So right now I've got the module 1 material and the information page, as well as the homework from last module, and any other things, the prayers that we're going to go over and things like that, or the prayers that teachers use. And so that's how you would access that page. And then what's on that page is the information page, which basically looks like this. And so there was one of these also, whoops, what in the world did I do? There was one of these also for, where'd it go? Sorry. There it is. Oh, that's weird. It keeps like clicking away. Anyway, hopefully you guys saw that. I don't know why it's doing that. So strange. Okay. Oh, I see what I'm doing. Hang on, bear with me. So sorry. All right. Can someone unmute and tell me what you're seeing right now?
The pillow.
Seeing your Discovering Buddha document.
Oh, good. Okay. For some reason, I'm not actually seeing it on my screen. That's so weird. Okay, so that's the document that has all the information you need, and that's what's first posted, on that website. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing because my screen is messed up. Okay, so I see that there was a chat. Did your last name change? Oh, that was just to me. No, my last name did not change. My last name's Saah, S-A-A-H, Linda Saah. Let's see. So that was from Joy. Okay, so are there any questions that I can try to answer? I know this is very confusing. And then there's, the other piece to this about getting certificates for Discovering Buddhism. And I'll just say right now, on that information page that hopefully I was just sharing, although I couldn't see it, at the bottom part of that information page is more information about how to get a certificate of achievement from the FPMT for each module. Okay, so the Kadampa Center is no longer doing any kind of certificate. So you'll need to, if you want a certificate of achievement for each module, you'll go through the FPMT. And think of these courses that the Kadampa Center is offering as kind of some supplemental to the FPMT. course. The FPMT course is more involved with some practices as well as additional readings and what am I trying to say? Quizzes and tests as well. And you'll earn, if you go through the FPMT, you'll earn a certificate of achievement for each module. If you want to go through the entire 14 module of Discovering Buddhism through the FPMT, you'll need to, again, refer back to the FPMT website for all of that information. So hopefully this will answer questions. If you still have questions, please don't hesitate to email me, or I can stay after tonight's class and try to help answer any of those questions and clear up any confusion. But for now, I think, let's see, at 7:10, I think we should go ahead and I'll turn it over to Dawn to get started. Dawn, are you all ready?
Close.
Okay.
So hello. I got a frog in my throat. My allergies are visiting. It's not too early for them, is it? So I've done this course before, been a while, but I do meditate. I have been doing it for a long time. Off and on, I have to say, sometimes my practice has been not as strong as at other times, but I remember one thing, Lama Yeshe, who's my teacher and the founder of the LPMT, and I met him 1978, kind of dates me, doesn't it? That was a long time ago, 42 years ago. But anyway, somebody asked him, they said, Lama, when do you meditate? And he said, I meditate all the time, like 24/7. His life was a meditation. So that's kind of something we can all aspire to do. Linda, why don't we do I'm trying to decide if we should just go to the video because we don't have a lot of time tonight.
It's up to you.
We could do the prayers, the standard prayers and then the video. And let me just say a couple of words about prayers. I don't know how many people are here, but some of you might be new. Maybe a lot of you are. We do in the Tibetan tradition, and actually in all the Buddhist traditions, prayers are an integral part of Buddhist meditation. Now all you have to do is walk through Whole Foods and you'll see signs, mindfulness and Mac mindfulness, like almost like McDonald's kind of, it's everywhere. The word mindfulness is everywhere. Mindfulness meditation. Well, and that's a very beneficial type of practice. It's good for all of us to learn how to, to be mindful and to be aware of what's going on in our mind so we can make choices, better choices. If we're completely, you might say foggy minded, we're not going to make any progress at all. So that's an important practice. But in this class, and I've steered this class different directions different times, but in this class, I prefer that we try to stay on track with the traditional Buddhist way of approaching meditation, which in the beginning we do prayers, and it's mainly it's basically about purification and accumulating positive imprints in our mind so that when we sit down to actually do the meditation practice, we're in a good place. So do we have those prayers now? Can we see them?
Yes, just bear with me 1 second. Let me get them up. All right, there we go.
Okay.
And I can scroll down if you need me to.
Yeah. That's Medicine Buddha. Okay, generating refuge and bodhicitta, right? Okay, let's start there. And
Okay.
I think those practices, this is a good place to start. And I'll just say a few things about it. As anybody who's been in any classes I've taught before, refuge is a term we use in Buddhism for those of you who are new. It's Alex Burson translates it as a safe and positive direction. That's okay. I don't have a problem with that. Buddhist refuge is actually entrusting your spiritual real estate, you might say, to the enlightened beings and their realizations, the teachings and the realizations of those teachings in beings, and then the spiritual community of Sangha. So we take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, or Supreme Assembly, as they say here. And so this first two lines distinguishes somebody from who is not a Buddhist, because if you're not a Buddhist, you don't take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. So this distinguishes a Buddhist from a non-Buddhist. And in the second two lines, by the merits I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. So the second two lines have to do with becoming a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings, which is the motivation of the Mahayana vehicle, the universal vehicle. There's a lot of different ways to look at it. But I've lived and practiced meditation for long periods of time in Thailand. Most of the time has been in Sri Lanka and Nepal and India. But the what we do, our motivation in the Mahayana tradition is others. In other words, the point of developing our mind is not only for our own benefit, and we do count, but it's really the focus needs to be on helping others. So how can I best help others? Get my act together, get my mind in a good place, develop my qualities, eliminate my thoughts, my negative mind states. That's how I can really make a positive impact. So the first two lines, again, distinguish a Buddhist from a non-Buddhist. Like, who do you go, where are you going to seek a second safe and positive direction in your life? And the last two lines distinguish you between somebody whose motivation is for self, like, I just want to be happy. It's just really me. Or somebody who really wants to dedicate their practice to universal living beings. Okay, good. Then it's really important. So this is a positive way to start the thing. Then the next two lines have to do with what we call, actually they might even be called the definitions of these points. May all sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. That is the definition of love in Buddhism. May all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. Not talking about romantic love here. I'm talking about this a really special kind of love that wishes all beings to have happiness and the causes of happiness. And then may all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. So that's compassion. And that also includes us. We have to have compassion for ourselves, right? We can also wish ourselves happy, but this is also really focused outward. We're really focusing on others' suffering, and may they be free of suffering and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings be inseparable from the happiness that is free from suffering. So that's called the immeasurable joy. And then may all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free from attachments to friends, or for friends and hatred to enemies. But it actually, an equanimous mind is absolutely necessary for the development of universal compassion, which is the basic foundation of this attitude of bodhicitta. If you have some people that you cling to and you call them your friends, but then there are other people you hate, well, then you're only going to be striving for enlightenment for the good, for your friends. The heck with the bad guys, But here we're trying to develop a levelness and evenness of mind where we have equal regard for the people that are, in our lives, our friends and family, the people that we don't even know, strangers, and also the people that we might label difficult, so-called enemies. Our goal here is to develop equanimous, even level mind, because that's a firm foundation for developing universal compassion. So again, there's love, compassion, joy, and equanimity. These are what the four measurables are, four measurable. And then the mandala offering, this is a kind of a traditional thing that is always done at the beginning of a teaching. If you go, for before a traditional teacher or whatever, even, yeah, a lot of teachers still do this, but it's a mandala offering. Basically, the mandala signifies the whole universe. And it's like, and you're wanting the teachings, and you really want the teachings, and what you want them so bad, and you see the value in them so much that you're willing to offer everything in the universe that's wonderful. And so you see people sometimes, they hold their fingers like this. You've seen people do this, maybe. Or, sometimes you have a mala. If you have a mala, you can, string it up like that. And it symbolizes the four continents, the sun and moon. I'm not going to say any more than that, but it just symbolizes. Lama Yeshe used to say, just imagine you're offering everything in the mall. Like everything that's great, everything that's desirable, you're willing to give it away for the teachings because they're so precious, because they're going to guide us out of suffering and confusion to happiness and peace, which is what we all really want in a heart of hearts. So it's sort of weirdly, it doesn't sound like anything we would ordinarily say, but it says, this ground anointed with perfume, strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, which is in Buddhist cosmology is like the center of the universe. And then there are four continents around this center of the universe, the sun and the moon. I imagine this as a Buddha field, and I offer it. May all living beings enjoy this pure land. And then Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kamya Yata Yami means I offer this this precious mandala to you, precious gurus, basically. So I think rather than us saying it together, since I've already said it, let's go ahead and do the video. And I think people understand it. You can do this in the morning, by the way. It's a good way to start your morning meditation practice. Ideal way to practice. Set your motivation in the morning for bodhicitta, or compassion, universal compassion for all living beings, that you're practicing with these kinds of attitudes. And then at the very end, you want to dedicate whatever positive merit, these little seeds that we planted, which we will plant. I mean, we're already planting seeds right now in our mind stream that are creating karma, that if it's positive, if our motivation is positive, it will ripen into happiness. If we plant seeds, no matter what it looks like, if your motivation is selfishness, not much is going to happen. Certainly nothing good. So the attitude, the motivation is the key factor in karma. So you want to go ahead, Linda, and let's play the video?
Sure.
Meditation is an essential step to develop on the path to enlightenment. Even in our daily lives, we can see that with good concentration, we accomplish much more work of better quality. Without a stable mind, we're like a candle sitting in the wind. We're vulnerable to negative influences and don't have much power to progress on a spiritual path. All Buddhist masters have relied on meditation to gain realizations. And if we look at the benefits, it's easy to see why. We feel more happy, balanced, and focused. And we experience a sense of inner peace. But meditation is much more than a way to relax and feel happy. It's a proven method for us to experience the true nature of reality, the true nature of our minds.
The beneficial results of any positive action that we do can be vast or limited depending on our motivation. And this is just as true of meditation as it is of any other spiritual activity that we undertake. If, for example, our motivation focuses primarily on our own concerns and needs in a self-centered kind of way, then the positive results of this will be very limited. If, on the other hand, we focus more on becoming better persons, able to bring peace and happiness and harmony to those around us, then the beneficial results of this kind of meditation will be very vast indeed. Therefore, at the beginning of this second program in our series, How to Meditate, in which you'll be learning the skills of meditation, it's especially important to generate a positive and altruistic motivation, wishing to become a better person in order to be able to bring well-being, peace, and happiness to those around you.
So when we speak about meditation, what do we mean by meditation? Meditation is a discipline where you cultivate certain familiarity with a chosen object of meditation. Generally, the problem is that in our normal day-to-day life, in our unreflective states of mind, generally we let ourselves to be under the control and domination of our mind, and our mind comes under the domination of afflictive emotions and thoughts. And because of this, then it leads to influencing our states of mind on the whole to be overwhelmed by destructive and negative emotions and thoughts, which then perpetuates the whole cycle of problems, confusion, suffering, and so on. So what are we seeking in our spiritual practice is to try to reverse that cycle so that gradually we will be in a position to take charge of our mind and prevent the mind from coming under the domination and influence of our negative impulses and thoughts. So the way in which we do this is to engage in a constant discipline of cultivation of this familiarity with the chosen object so that we will be able to gain a certain stability of mind where we have the capacity to place our mind and allow it to abide single-pointedly with a degree of stability upon a certain chosen object. And here, when we speak about chosen object, we are, of course, talking about a positive object upon which we direct our thoughts and then cultivate familiarity with it so that in this way, gradually, we'll be able to reverse the cycle. And this is the actual meaning and purpose of meditation in the Buddhist context. Therefore, we observe that the process of change that takes place within us is gradual. Similarly, when we are trying to dispel certain states of confusion or misunderstanding or misperceptions with regard to reality. Again, that sort of process of illumination, the process of dispelling, comes through in a gradual way. Again, we can observe from our own personal experience. So in the actual process of meditation, there are principally two approaches. One is the analytic meditation. The other one is placement meditation or absorptive meditation. So in a sense, we are all familiar with the practices of analytic meditation and absorptive meditation. So what, as spiritual practitioners, what we are trying to do is to apply this very mechanism, which we are all naturally familiar with, onto a completely new area in a realm where we do not cultivate such familiarity, the realm of spiritual practice, the realm of enhancing positive qualities within us.
To have a mind where you can control your thought and your emotion is incredible. Without speaking about getting spiritual realization, just to be able to say stop to the thought when you want, to say stop to the emotion when you want, to have that capacity to be master of your own mind, to be able to say, oh, these thoughts stop, these emotions stop, now I have enough of you. And to be, whenever you want, you can stay still, So to have this capacity is an incredible, peace of mind, an incredible advantage, Suddenly you become master of your own mind. If you want to develop any qualities of mind, you need some mindfulness, some continuity in what meditation you do, For example, you meditate on love. If your mind of meditating on love gets constantly interrupted by other thoughts, there's no way that you will have the ability to develop a strong love, Same thing if you meditate about the nature of reality, how things really exist. If you have this inquiring mind which follows a stream of thought and wants to reach a conclusion and stay on it, you have to have had a concentrated mind which is able to follow the analysis without being distracted. And once you reach a conclusion, to look at it and see what it implies. You must be able to stay in the conclusion of your analysis and see what it implies, how it changed your whole worldview, based on that conclusion you have reached. So in order for that to function, again, you need to have a calm mind. If you have more, we have control over our mind, What happens is that instead of going constantly up and down like a yo-yo, being overly excited when something good happens and completely depressed when things go wrong, our usual mind, So with concentration, your mind becomes much more even. That evenness of mind actually is a type of joy, a type of peace, which is so pleasant, much more pleasant actually than even the excitement of pleasure. To have this still inside, is much more pleasant than having good news and good things happening out there. With time, we see that what we call pleasure, excitement, actually is a form of suffering. It's not real happiness, it's excitement, and it's like boiling water. There's no peace, no serenity in what we call pleasure. You know? But this we see by practicing. So that's why I think effort put into concentration, into developing calm abiding, I think is very important. And we can do that in everyday life. It doesn't need necessarily to go into retreat to do that. You know, you just know how to go about it, and you have to know how to integrate it into your everyday life. In order to develop calm abiding, there are certain conditions, you know, which help. So all these conditions we can gather in our everyday life. You know, we don't need necessarily to go to a complete isolated place. It just means having little desire, be content with one's life situation, you know, and have a little bit of peaceful environment. You know. So even though one might have a family life, still we can wake up an earlier before everybody else and do some calm abiding then, you know, or at the evening when everybody's at bed, or when the children are at school or something like that. One can find a place, a time in a day, you know, if one wants it, for a peaceful meditation. So the first is to have, you see, wishing to do the meditation, you know, by seeing its advantage, then developing the determination, I'm going to do it, and for such amount of time I'm not going to lose the object, you know, and then is to develop the mindfulness of holding the object without losing it. And once you're able to do that, then you use introspection to check the quality of your concentration. And then to make it more precise, you know, if you're prone to dullness, then you hold the object more intensely. If you have too much excitement, you lose, you know, you relax it a bit the grip on your object, you know, and like that, slowly you find the middle way, you know, and you're able to hold on to it. So that's a little bit the process, how one goes about it. And by doing that, you know, one goes through 9 stages. Just in brief, I will go a little bit over that. So when one starts meditating on calm abiding and sits down, you know, and say, okay, I'm going to meditate for 10 minutes, you know. For 10 minutes, you know, I will hold this Buddha image or watching the breath, you know. So at the first stage, one said, wow, what a mess, you know. One realized that one hardly ever find the object, you know. During the whole session, you know, oh yes, you know, oh, I'm supposed to watch my breath. And the mind goes all over the place, you know. So just from time to time, actually, you remember you're supposed to watch the breath. But your mind, most of the time, is going all over the place, you know. So this is the first stage of meditating on calm abiding, you know. Is that, you know, it's called placing the mind. It's actually trying to bring the mind onto the object in the first place, you know. So the whole session is spent bringing the mind on the object, you know, because most of the time it's away, you know. So then the second stage is called placement with continuity. So there, one is able to bring the mind on the object and stay it for a little while before losing it again, right? So there's a continuity. Before there was no continuity at all, you know. You just bring it there, poof, it goes off. You bring it there, it goes off, you know. Here, there is a continuity. Then the third stage is called patch-like placement. So there, at the third stage, you're able to stay on the object for quite a while, you know. You stay on the object, and from time to time you lose it. But then, as soon as you lose it, you are aware that you're losing it, and you're able to bring the mind back. And then the fourth stage is called close placement. You know? So at the fourth stage, from the beginning to the end of your session, you don't lose the object at all. You know? During the whole session, you're able to hold on to the object. Right? There still is distraction and dullness, but one part of your mind never loses the object anymore. And then the fifth stage is called controlling. So because at the fourth level you are able to stay for the whole session on the object, you know, you decided, by familiarizing yourself with that, you reach a state of inner peace you never experienced before. Suddenly, it's like your mind was always like boiling water, and suddenly the boiling water has subsided, and you find that your mind inside experience a kind of tranquility that you never had before, and you realize, wow, that's quite pleasant. The difference between the fifth and the fourth is that the fifth, there's no more gross laxity and gross excitement, So, the gross aspect of this disturbance has subsided. You still have subtle dullness and subtle excitement, but not anymore the gross aspect of it, And then the sixth is called pacifying. It's very difficult to recognize because the object is there, it's stable, and it's clear. What is missing is the intensity of holding onto the object. So in general, when one reaches that state, it's better to lean towards the side of subtle excitement than to lean towards the side of subtle laxity, because subtle excitement is easy to recognize. At the seventh stage, you can stay on the object, boom, 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 you sit there, you stay on the object, and from time to time you have to check whether excitement and laxity has come about. But the main bulk of your sitting, you're completely there on the object. The excitement and dullness is not so strong anymore, It doesn't happen often, and even if it arises, you just need to poof, 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 and the thought, they stop. The emotion, they stop. It's a process from going from your ordinary mind, which has this thought and things like that, to go into your mind of calm abiding. So it's like entering into a tunnel or entering into something, So you focus your mind on the object and you go to a certain stage to go into that mind of calm abiding. And then the ninth stage is called placement with equanimity. So there's no more effort, As soon as you sit down, you're so familiarized with that state of meditation. You just sit down and you're in that state, for the whole session. No matter how long, you can stay on the object without any excitement or any dullness. So that's a fantastic state of mind. This is the ninth stage of calm abiding. It's not the fully qualified calm abiding. Then you have to cultivate that for a certain period of time. And then there's something which is, if you cultivate that, there's a transformation of your body and mind happening. There's a kind of physical bliss which arises and a mental bliss. And this physical and mental bliss give rise to a special physical suppleness or pliancy or lightness about your body and a lightness about your mind. A sharpness, a suppleness about the mind, a pliancy where you can apply your mind for anything virtuous you want, whenever you want. The mind has always great enthusiasm, You never lose enthusiasm for doing something positive, So when this process has happened, this physical and mental bliss has arisen, and then the physical suppleness and mental suppleness has arisen, and gets stabilized, then this is called calm abiding. It's a very clear path. It's very well put down, and so you know exactly where you are, what's your problem, and how to face it, to go to the next stage. So this you find, in the Lamrim tradition, in the section on calm abiding, you have an explanation in detail on that, So, good luck.
Why I meditate is because I want to be happy. I think most people want to be happy. So, meditation is definitely, I think, the richest experience that I've had. And it comes from inside. I don't have to manipulate the externals. I don't have to do anything. to get it. It's just a matter of my having kind of the discipline of mind to sit down. Normally I meditate twice a day, at least in the morning when I wake up, kind of when I'm still kind of just to get my frame of mind, my space in myself right. It's like I know that I'm already whole, you know, that I already have everything. It's all right here, and so therefore I can like go out in the world and, you know, be there for other people. By meditating, I feel, because of this heightened awareness, that I can almost sense my, if something's, you know, my own thoughts, like if I'm having negative thoughts about someone or kind of my own delusions, I can see them, you know, it's like, oh, right, there's my delusion. And there's like this separation sometimes between the thought and kind of my awareness watching the thoughts coming, you know, and it's kind of, you know, like, it's like a dream, you know, or watching my own hallucination. You know, there's just some sort of space between them where I'm not really identifying with everything and how that relates to my morality. It's like keeping a check on my actions, you know, my thoughts, you know, my words. You know, if something's happening, I'm not like just, you know, jumping out and saying, reacting with harsh words. If I keep that, you know, like very spacious awareness, you know, it's like, this is all me, and why would I want to have these ugly thoughts or, you know, towards, you know, these kind people around me.
So this perfect meditation involves concentration, and concentration is a very elusive thing, I have found. It's very funny because you think that you can just go and you can set the mind, especially in a quiet environment. You're not going to have the outside influences. And you'll be able to get to a very concentrated state very quickly. Well, that may be true at certain times, but I'll tell you, most of the time the mind is wandering. It takes a lot of determination. It takes a lot of time to be able to control it. I found during retreat you get a little taste of how things really do exist. And once you get that little taste, you become very hungry. You want to repeat that experience. So meditation is vital for that, because you want to keep bringing the mind back to that little taste you had. We have the fortunate circumstances to receive the Dharma teachings in this life, to meet these precious lamas who are spreading the truth, and that we can realize this truth. It's not just for lamas or teachers or long-term meditators. I mean, the common everyday person, the business person, the housewife, everybody can realize the ultimate nature. And we must do it, because we have this human rebirth. We have a very short time. We have this flash of lightning in order to do it. And we can't waste our lives drowning in alcohol, drowning in drugs. We have to do it with positive actions. We have to use meditation to calm the mind. We have to use meditation to understand the way things really exist. And we have to use meditation to achieve that goal in order to help other people. Without meditation, there's no way that you can develop the habit of seeing that everything is a projection. Meditation is vital. It's essential. It's sort of like the water, it's the air in your life.
maybe any questions about what we just saw, about what you heard. Then we'll do a meditation.
So feel free to unmute and ask a question, or you can type it in the chat, whichever you prefer. I'm not seeing anything yet, Don.
All right, well, maybe some other things will come up in a minute. So
Actually, I had a question.
sure.
So if you're not good at meditating every day, what's a good amount of time to dedicate to work into the habit?
If you're not good at meditating every day, good question. I think you start out with a minute.
Oh,
You start out just, if you do it a minute every day, then you get the next week, you go to 2 minutes. You just have to build up the habit. We can build up these habits slowly. Truthfully, most teachers would say, and it really depends. I think most people would say you should start out with 10, 15, 20 minutes, but it's so dependent on the individual, on your on your circumstances at home and things like that. For example, Venerable Rene, he was talking about developing calm abiding. I'm going to say just a few things about two main kinds of meditation. The Dalai Lama talked about it as well. But Rene was talking about developing the 10 stages of calm abiding, which is like a mind, like a laser. Okay. That's not the free flowing, just open your mind and let it go. Just be aware of what's going on. You've chosen an object, and now your contract with yourself is to focus in on that object like a laser. And gradually over time, you get better and better at it. But I said, when you do a retreat on calm abiding, you meditate in like 10 to 15-minute sessions, and you give it like 100%. You really want to focus your mind, bring a lot of energy to it, and then relax, and then maybe take a little break, and then you come back and you do another 10 or 15 minutes like that. That's much better than sitting there for an hour and letting your mind wander all over the place. I mean, you sort of, when you do that, you're cultivating stupidity, not calm abiding. You're cultivating distractedness, which is not helping you or anybody else. So I think a couple of thoughts I had this weekend when I was mentally preparing for this class was, I thought, there's, well, before I go there, I'll come back to it. We were talking about two kinds of meditation. The Dalai Lama was talking about checking, sometimes it's called checking meditation. Tupten Chodron, in her book, which, by the way, is the text for this class, if you want to get it. It's an excellent book. It's written in 2008. It's actually a compilation of some of her teachings. But checking is called analytical meditation, examination meditation, and we do it all the time. I mean, all day long, we're analyzing things, and we might get it, trying to work out a puzzle or something at work that we're trying to figure out. We know how to analyze things. Here, the object of analysis are virtuous objects like love and compassion and the nature of reality, and how to develop equanimity and how to develop the attitude of universal compassion and so on. So we all know how to do this sort of analytical or checking practice, but here the object is different. These are spiritual, these are practices, this particular meditation we use. For example, we're going to do meditations on all kinds of things. One of the things we're going to do is meditation on attachment, okay? Clinging attachment. And so we might, during that meditation, we might want to look at the faults of attachment. I mean, well, it makes me feel good. I want to be attached. Attachment, mothers need to be attached to their babies, or the baby will be, won't be healthy, and so on and so forth. We're not talking about that kind of attachment per se, although there's some element of it. We're talking about where we project onto an object qualities that are way beyond what's actually there. In other words, if it's an attractive person, we think, oh, she or he is so gorgeous. We don't realize that we are the one projecting it and creating the gorgeousness or the deliciousness of whatever it is we're attracted to. We think it comes from the side of the object, and we think it's just wonderful. We don't even analyze it. But when we stop and analyze it, we see that we've distorted the reality and created this negative state of mind of clinging attachment that gives us no freedom. It gives us no freedom. It destroys our happiness in the moment. It creates a fear of losing the object. When we have the object, we're freaking out because we're afraid we're going to lose it. We can't thoroughly enjoy it. In other words, we might do this kind of analysis of attachment. Not that it's bad, but it causes pain in certain circumstances. There's different kinds of attachment, good attachment and delusional attachment. But we analyze it, and then we come to the conclusion that this delusional kind of attachment that overestimates the positive qualities of things and causes us to cling and causes us to suffer is not something that we want to do. At that point, we stop the analysis, we stop checking, we stop the contemplative part of the practice, and now we do what Renee was talking about. We take that mind, that feeling, that experience, that realization that we came to in the process of analyzing attachment, and we hold on to that with single-pointed concentration. Okay, so this is crucial. This is how we take Dharma understanding and turn it into Dharma realizations. We understand things through analysis. We understand reality. Things are empty of inherent existence. Things do exist, but not the way they appear to exist. We project a false reality and we believe it, and so on. We do that kind of analysis until we come to the conclusion that everything is empty of inherent existence, of self-existence, of concrete existence that exists independent of my mind projecting it. We come to that conclusion and we hold on to that. Again, we're alternating analytical, contemplative meditation with this calm abiding or focused or concentration practice. And we can go back and forth, but it's through the analysis that we develop the wisdom, and through the concentration that we can literally drive that understanding into our hearts and our bone marrow and change our lives, basically change the quality of our lives. And so it's you can see meditation is it's really, it's probably, I was attracted to Buddhism back in the day. I could tell a little story, but it's kind of boring. But anyway, for me, it was important. I was traveling. I'd taken a year off to travel to see, and I had a couple of jobs set up in different places. And I was in Kathmandu, Nepal, and I signed up for this Buddhist meditation course at this monastery called Kopan, which many of you may have been to if you've ever been to Nepal. That's where Lama Zopa and Lama Yeshe, that was their monastery. And I heard about this meditation class and I thought, you know what? I could use some meditation. I said, my mind is all over the place. I could use, I would like to be able to control my mind. So I thought that what I was signing up for was mind control. And it was way more than that. It was way more than that. But it was that too. Learning how to be mindful. And then when a negative mind state arose, learning the antidote to that negative mind state. Say, for example, I just had a little self-disclosure here. I don't know when, I don't think I'll ever be able to sit. Used to be able to sit full lotus, then half lotus. I don't think I'm going to be able to do much of any. I've got a new knee now, my new left knee. It's working pretty darn good. And I got some medicine, from the doctor, pain medicine, different kinds of things like that to help me, during the recovery phase. I'm 6 weeks out now. And meditation is very much like this, where, you're in a particular situation and anger arises in your mind. Okay. And and normally when we get, maybe before we started to meditate, when anger arose, it became like a wave. It just crashed and we followed it and we would even indulge it. But now maybe we've learned that we've seen the shortcomings of anger and the benefits of patience. And so what we can do then when, one of the antidotes to anger is patience, patient endurance. And there are ways to make it, and loving kindness is part of helping to cultivate that. So what we do is when we are aware that our mind is off on a tangent that's going to cause suffering, what we can do is we reach into our medicine cabinet and take out tolerance and patience, and we focus on that. Okay? Until the anger subsides or diminishes. It won't last forever. Every mind state, every emotion is impermanent. It's constantly in a state of flux. But if we focus on the antidote to anger, we can stop it. We can stop it. The antidote to, to attachment is simply letting go. There's the medicine. You got to reach into your Dharma medicine cabinet. You have to develop, you have to develop a whole medicine cabinet of tools that will help you work your way through a day without suffering, by being aware, by being mindful, whatever mind state that's arising, that if it doesn't disappear on its own briefly within a short period of time, you have powerful antidotes. Just like a good pain medicine, if you have a new knee, you might need some for a few days anyway. So that's kind of, where we are with this. Is meditation practice is something that I think we'd all like to know how to do. And that's why I signed up for that course in Nepal back in those days, back in the late 70s, to try to control my mind. And I still haven't done it yet. But, I'm better than I was. I'll say that.
So Don, we do have a couple of questions if you're up for taking questions.
Yeah, go ahead. Sure.
Okay, so, and you may have already answered this because you touched on it quite a bit. So Giovanna, and forgive me if I'm mispronouncing your name, Giovanna asks, what do you mean choose an object? And then after you finish that question, Willis, you can unmute, and Willis has a couple of questions as well.
Okay, so for example, classically in the Mahayana tradition, when you're trying to develop calm abiding, okay, then the object you know, in the Theravada tradition, a lot of times they'll use the breath, at least start out following the breath. Okay. It could be the rising and falling or the expansion of the chest and abdomen. It could be the sensation of the breath at the tip of the nostril. And then eventually the breath becomes so subtle that the object actually has to become something that you visualize. In the Mahayana tradition of developing calm abiding, what we use is an image of the Buddha about this big, and a body length in front at the level of the forehead, completely made of light, like a hologram. And we imagine that it's a living presence of the Buddha, and that becomes the focus of our practice. Another object could be wisdom. We want to develop wisdom. So we have to realize through analytical meditation or analysis how things don't exist, how they appear to exist, and how they do exist, which is empty of inherent existence. That becomes the object. So, and then there's meditations like compassion, developing compassion. And you say, well, that's actually not an object, because when we meditate on compassion, what we're doing is we are meditating compassion. We are recognizing, for example, you think of someone you love, like your daughter or son or somebody, your child or your only child, and you imagine that they're suffering, okay? And you already feel love for them. You feel deep, profound love and affection for them. And you see their suffering, and you wish, may they be free of suffering and the causes of suffering, okay? Now, those words are not compassion. Compassion is what you have transformed your mind into. So now what you're meditating, the object is compassion, but it's not really an object. You're meditating on the experience of if it could speak, would say, may you be free of suffering and the causes. So you have transformed your mind into compassion, and in a sense, that's the object. So it's a great question, and we'll do different meditations like precious human rebirth, the importance of this precious life and what we can do for it, and what we have, how fortunate we are to have this, this, and this, and how fortunate we are not to have this, this, and this, like that, and that becomes the object. Or we'll meditate on death and impermanence, and that'll become the object. So it can go on and on. There's a lot. It's a great question, though. Thank you. Next one.
Willis, go for it.
What's the next question?
Okay, I'm going to get them out before I forget again. All right, when we were talking about, when you was bringing up attachment, and you was talking about, oh, she's beautiful, or he's a handsome man. And what I was thinking of is I listened to Lama Yeshe's book, How to Be Your Own Psychologist. And is that what he's talking about when he's saying checking up on your mind? And then before I forget, through meditation or through the sharpening of our mind, is when that arises, is it I acknowledge what this is, or will it not affect me the same way? Or you'll say, oh, she's pretty, and then just let it go. And then that's it.
So I'm that's too much for me to answer right now. I can't process it. But I will say this. I tried to make when Lama Yeshe in that book, How to Be Your Own Therapist, we need to know our minds, okay? We need to know how our minds work, and we need to become the master of our minds, as Venerable Renee talked about. And the method to do that is just like lifting weights. Wait a minute. Yeah, like, this bicep, if you don't do anything, within just a few weeks, it begins to atrophy. So we have to strengthen our minds and be able to see things clearly. Now, for example, in attachment, the point I was making in attachment is, there's a meditation which you're going to be doing in this class on attachment. The point I'm making is that when we see an attractive person, we don't have to say, oh no, she's not attractive, or he's not handsome, or he's not beautiful, or whatever. You know, that's not the point. The point is, what we want to do is not cling. So we can appreciate beauty without clinging to it. A beautiful sunset, a beautiful person. But the attachment problem, the attachment arises when we project qualities on that object that are beyond what's there. Okay. We think that the beauty of that girl, for example, or that guy comes from the side of the person, right? We think that they're inherently beautiful. Anybody who ever saw them would think they're beautiful, and therefore they're beautiful. But we've exaggerated their attractiveness, and in doing so, we cling. Okay, that's the problem. We see them as inherently attractive, and we cling, and it causes us to suffer because for a lot of reasons. You know, but you get the point. We distort reality. We believe in the distortion, and that's where the problems come. And that's why we need to develop wisdom and to be able to see things clearly, free of, Lamiyesh used to define emptiness as just stripping away the paint, just stripping away the projection and seeing what's there for what it's worth. And what's there is beautiful. And when we look at ourselves, what's here is pure love and compassion and generosity and skillful means and power and all the good qualities that, you know, we can see. We might have inkling of it, but we have unlimited potential to develop these qualities. But we have to have a method, and the method's meditation, and the method's understanding the Buddha Dharma. That's the method that we're talking about here tonight. Was there another question?
Willis, did you have any more? No, okay, that's it.
I think yeah. So I wanted to say a couple of things before we do this brief meditation. And that is that, first of all, I don't expect people to have faith in something that they haven't experienced. Okay, like blind faith that meditation is going to do this and this. Meditation has been around a long time, a very long time. In fact, that the practice of calm abiding is also a practice in Hinduism. It's not a Buddhist practice per se. Developing single-pointed concentration, that's not a Buddhist practice per se. Hindus do it. Other traditions teach that kind of laser kind of focused mind. What is unique about Buddhism is this emphasis on compassion and wisdom and developing those, the two wings of the bird of enlightenment. But in any case, so we need, we've got, there's a lot of work to be done. And it just takes time, and you have to have some confidence. So I'm going to read one or two quickie things here because we're all interested. Who are you most interested in? Who's number one? Me. Let's talk about my favorite subject, me. No, I'm just kidding. But that's Robbie and I joke about that a lot. But we're all interested in ourselves. We want to be happy. We don't want to suffer. We want to be healthy. So this comes from believe it or not, this is from the New York Times, September 2003. And I'm just going to read one paragraph. In July, the results of an experiment at Promega, which is some place where they evidently had a retreat, were published in the Journal of Psychosomatic Medicine. And they suggest that meditation may indeed leave a discernible and lasting imprint on the minds and bodies of its practitioners. Among the Promega employees who practiced meditation for just 2 months, that's shorter than this course, just a little longer than this course, the Wisconsin researchers detected significant increases in activity in several areas of the left prefrontal cortex. This is where all the good stuff is happening, compassion and all the positive mind states. kind of are localized, generally can be traced to the left prefrontal cortex. Heightened activity that persisted for at least 4 months after the experiment. They practiced for 2 months, but there was a residual effect even 4 months after the experiment when the subjects were tested again. Moreover, the meditators showed the greatest increase in prefrontal activity after training, showed a corresponding more robust ability to churn out antibodies in response to receiving a flu vaccine. So now we're talking about our immune system. Now we're talking about COVID here. Meditation, nobody, I haven't heard anybody say meditate to prevent COVID, but hey, if it jacks up our immune system, that's a good thing. Finding John Kabat-Zinn suggests this, the finding John Kabat-Zinn suggests it demonstrated qualitative shifts in brain activity after only 2 months of meditation that mirror preliminary reports seen in expert meditators like monks. So there's a lot to be, there's so much literature out there about the benefits of meditation. So, you know, I suspect that's why you're here tonight, is that you want to learn, at least beginning the process. So when you go home, I mean, we're going to do a meditation here for a few minutes. I guess some people may be zoomed out by now, but we're going to do a meditation here. You may or may not be able to see this. You cannot see it probably. But anyway, at the bottom, this is the Shambhala Publications, the guided meditations that go along with Thupten Chodron's book. And everything is, I mean, she's guiding these meditations. So, I mean, I've been going through them recently myself, and I like it. You know, you click on, for example, mind is the source of happiness and pain. And there's like a 10-minute meditation, guided meditation on that subject. So you can go through each of these, but what you want to do is always sit down, find a comfortable spot, preferably. Most people do better in the morning than the evenings, but some people are evening meditators. You sit in a comfortable spot. You try to keep your spine straight. You want to be comfortable. You can have your palms in your lap or on your thighs, and then you want to usually. I'll usually start out by doing a couple of minutes of just mindfulness of the breath, because that helps me kind of settle down. Sometimes it takes me 20 minutes to settle down, but mindfulness of the breath is a good place to start. So do that you might even do it just for 2 or 3 breaths, 3 deep breaths, and then read the prayers. Go through those, you know, refuge and bodhicitta, the 4 immeasurables, and the mandala offering to sort of accumulate, put your mind in a positive, have your mind going in a positive direction. And then you can do the meditation practice. And if we're going to start out with, what we're going to start out with now is just mindfulness of the breathing. No big deal. Very simple practice. And then when we're done, we're going to you want to dedicate the merit. This sounds kind of weird. It sounds like Boy Scout stuff, merit, like a merit badge. But what it really means is that we acknowledge that we have done something positive, and that seeds have been planted in our mind stream that are definitely going to ripen into happiness. And what we want to do is dedicate those seeds and the happiness that results from those seeds to the benefit of not only ourselves, but all living beings. Okay, so that we have that sort of magnanimous motivation as the dedication. So we always start out with the same motivation. I'm practicing to benefit myself and all living beings, and I'm going to give it 100%. We do the practice with concentration and, with intensity as much as we can, but again, with a relaxed, calm mind. So there's a kind of we have to work that one out ourselves. And at the very end, we do the dedication. So let's start out by sitting up, and I'll just go through the 7 point. I can't remember all the points, but I know I do know what they are. You sit up straight. If you can sit cross-legged, I think that the best way to sit, if you're flexible enough, is the full lotus, because I mean, you're like a rock. Your body's so still. But you sit cross-legged or half lotus, or if you're sitting in a chair like I am right now, your feet are on the floor, your back is straight, your shoulders are down and slightly back, so your chest kind of opens up a little bit. And then usually in the Tibetan tradition, we go, the right hand goes on top of the left like this, the thumbs touch, and then the thumbs are at the level of the navel, okay? And the arms are a little bit away from the body, okay? And then the chin is slightly tucked in, and the tongue is touching the roof of the mouth. And that's to saliva, which always happens. It just goes down the back of our throat without us having to, swallow, because that's going to disrupt our concentration. So, the tongue is at the roof of the mouth, and we, most of the time, we say, keep your eyes slightly open. Although some people, it's better to keep them closed, at least in the beginning, but later on, you'll want to learn how to keep your eyes slightly open, just to let a little bit of light in, because it keeps the mind fresh, like brighter, more, it makes the mind brighter. I'll just say that. So let's start out by assuming that posture, and then we're going to do real simple meditation, but you'll find out that it's not as easy as it seems. It's just counting the breath. And we'll start out by breathing out. Excuse me. We'll breathe out and breathe in, and that'll be 1. You can do it as I speak. And you breathe out and breathe in, 2. Breathe out and in, and then you can make the mental note, 3. And out and in, 4. And out and in, 5. Now you breathe out and you breathe in, and now we go, oh my God, what's the next number? This will happen to you. You will go, oh my God, was it 4 or 5, or is the next one 6? When that happens, you start over at 1. And if you get to 10, you're a superhero. Trust me. So I'm going to we're going to do this together silently. You're going to do it yourself. Out and in 1, out and in 2, but silently. You can, use your, with your count silently, to just mental noting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If you get lost, you go back again. You don't beat yourself up about it. This is the practice. Every time you're mindful that you're lost and you bring your mind back, that's building up the bicep. That's strengthening the meditation muscle. Well, let's do this for a few minutes, not long. And when you reach 10, I want you to drop the noting and just focus on the experience of breathing without counting. If you need to count, it's okay, you can count, but I want you to just be completely aware of the breath as and you can focus. It's good to pick a spot like the tip of the nose. A lot of people use the tip of the nose, and when you do that, you'll notice that when you breathe out, it's warmer than when you breathe in, slightly cooler. And you want to follow the breath all the way in, and then if you sometimes you can get lost right there, but you want to stay with the breath as it turns and the exhalation begins. And at the end of exhalation, you want to stay with the breath as it turns and the inhalation. So you're like a scientist under a microscope. You're focusing in pretty tightly on on the experience from the beginning of the cycle of breathing to the beginning of the next cycle of breathing to the beginning of next cycle of breathing. Just do that. Give it this is in the beginning, it's effortful. There is no doubt about it. It is effortful. Later on, when you get to the ninth and 10th, or eighth, ninth, and 10th level of calm abiding, you can do it without even, there's no effort at all. You pick an object and your mind stays with it like a laser. But we have work to do to get there. Let's do this again for about another 3 to 5 minutes. And if you find yourself going off on a tangent or, literally, writing an essay about something that happened today, you just notice that your mind is distracted and you gently but firmly bring it back to the focus, which is the experience of breathing. So do we have, Linda, do we have the dedication, Shanti Deva's, that little dedication verse, smell beings?
Sure.
Yeah, do we have, can you flash that? So these are not nice.
This one?
Yeah, that one. So let's read this together. This is such a beautiful thought, and it's a nice way to dedicate the practices that we've done today, the seeds that we planted, which according to the laws of karma, if our motivation has been to become better people, to become happier people, to be able to be a better father, to have more patience with your kids, to be a better coworker, whatever positive motivation you have is good enough, is perfect. And so seeds were planted, they'll ripen into happiness. Now we're going to seal the deal with this dedication prayer. May all beings everywhere, plagued by sufferings of body and mind, obtain an ocean of happiness and joy by virtue of my merits. May no living creature suffer, commit evil, or ever fall ill. May no one be afraid or belittled with the mind weighed down by depression. May the blind see forms and the deaf hear sounds. May those whose bodies are worn with toil be restored on finding repose. May the naked find clothing, the hungry find food. May the thirsty find water and delicious drinks. May the poor find wealth, those weak with sorrow find joy. May the forlorn find hope, constant happiness, and prosperity. May there be timely rains and bountiful harvests. May all medicines be effective and wholesome prayers bear fruit. May all who are sick and ill quickly be freed from their ailments. Whatever diseases there are in the world, may these never occur again. May the frightened cease to be afraid and those bound be freed. May the powerless find power, and may people think of benefiting each other. For as long as space remains, for as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. Amen. So thank you for those of you who have put up with my me babbling on. Robbie told me I should be done in an hour. It's an hour and a half, but hey, maybe next week if we get lucky. But so your homework, if you choose to do it, is to go on. You can look up children's book. Linda, do we have how to find the meditations?
Yeah, so I did put the link in the chat. So before we sign off, you can scroll up and look for that link. And then if you've accessed the website, kadampa-center.org, and then do that /user and put in your username and password for Discovering Buddhism, on the information page, all of the information you need is there.
Yeah,
including.
I basically went to guided Buddhist meditations through Shambhala by Thupten Chodron, and there are about 25 or 30 there are more than 30 meditations. What I would suggest that you do this coming week is take one meditation each day, starting with the introduction to the Buddhist view. The first one says, mind is the source of happiness and pain. The second one is taking the ache out of attachment, and so on. So they're not long. I mean, 10 minutes, 16 minutes, 17, 14, 15, 17. The last one is 20 minutes. If you don't have the kind of time, you do the best you can, or you just do as much as you can. It's okay. You don't have to, you don't necessarily need to be a superhero here. You take on as much as you can, and do the best you can. And we'll meet back here next Monday evening at 7:00. Thank you for your attention. Have a good week.
Thank you, Don.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm happy to stay on if anyone has any questions, especially about finding this.
I am too, as well, by the way. Are there questions down here?
I don't think so. Oh, wait, 2 new messages. No, just
okay. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I have a question.
I have a message from Lori that the homework is not an active link, and that's because there's no homework yet. But now that there is, I will post that tonight.
Yeah.
Linda,
So the homework link will be active after tonight.
Okay.
Hey, Linda.
Where do we find the link?
Okay, here, I'm going to stop